That's how it leaves the league table. 5 points is the difference between Arsenal and Manchester City. Now, City, with that game in hand, still very much, of course, in Arsenal's hands. But that decision will be talked about for a long time. And guess what? That's exactly where we're going to begin. Because in the history of VAR, since it was introduced, that was its most important 4 minutes, 11 seconds, wasn't it?
A huge decision. I mean, I was watching it yesterday at home and I couldn't believe the length of time it took, but then you realise that the enormity of the situation. I mean, we're talking about the Premier League title potentially decided on that one decision, but not just the Premier League title potentially decided, West Ham's relegation fate as well. I mean, we saw the game, you saw the pressure and the intensity from both sides inside the stadium, and that just added to the moment. I mean, it was some moment.
Yeah, I was just behind the Arsenal substitutes at the time. So we'll come to that in a moment, but let's look at the actual football side of how we came to the 1-0. Before the goal, probably what we were saying on Sunday, it will go down as, if they go on to win the title, one of the most iconic goalkeeping saves from David Raya. That's what Paul will say. Fernandes, for you, from your point of view?
Big miss.
Big miss, OK.
Big miss.
There's David Raya's moment gone from Michael Owen.
More of a big miss than a great save,
right,
in my opinion. I thought it was a real big miss.
Tell us why.
I'm going to tell you why, Steve. Right, let's have a look. There's a couple of big moments, of course, 3 big moments that we're going to look at. But let's just take this slowly. So Fernandes breaking through, good move actually from West Ham, and I'll give you your moment in a minute, Robbo. But when he's taken that touch, I'm thinking straight away, you've got all of this room. You can just flick it with the outside of your foot. Lots of room, as I say. What he does is takes an extra touch, and then he almost opens his body up as if to give the goalkeeper the eyes, and then pulls it. Now, pulls it into this near post. Now, if you're going to give the goalkeeper the eyes, you've got to have space between yourself and the goalkeeper. When the goalkeeper's this far away, it doesn't matter what eyes I'm giving Robbo, he's just smothering the ball, he's just blocking the ball. So I can't understand why he takes his touch. Watch this now, he sort of runs around it as if he's going to open out, and then he just pulls it last minute. Now, that to me is a huge miss. We'll just go on to the other couple of angles, and then I'll give Robbo his turn and to eulogise over the goalkeeper. Here we go again. This gives us a good angle of the way he opens up and then he pulls it. There's no room in that near post. There's no room at all. He does the hard bit. He gets the big area in the far corner. So this is the good angle here. So if I sort of pause it when he's about to hit it, I mean, look, he's got all of this area, all of this is a goal. This is the biggest area in the world to hit, and he decides not to. He decides to go for a tight angle that's never there. Right, Robbo, I've had my rant.
But it's this touch, isn't it? It's that touch there that he doesn't need. I'm going to cue it up again
for you so you can have a go right the way through.
Yeah, it's that touch there that he doesn't need. He makes the goalkeeper's job easy. Like you say, if he's in that situation there and hits it before he has that last touch, takes the goalkeeper out of the game. But from the goalkeeper's point of view, him having that extra touch is absolutely perfect for him. Because you look at Raya's positioning, he reads the through ball, decides not to go, and his depth perception is excellent because he stays on his line. But giving him that extra touch, it then gives the goalkeeper an opportunity to turn what he's thinking, I'm going to have to make a save, into a block. Yeah. You watch, I wouldn't call this a save, this is a block, because you look at him, it's a position that you work on in training. You get that close to your goalkeeper coach and you practice that shape. There's an element of luck involved in that block, but it's well worked on, it's well trained over a period of time. But what he's done well is he's held his position in relation to his line, but he's been given that chance to make the save because the striker has that extra touch. But it's a brilliant stop. It really is a good stop.
And then 5 minutes later, Arsenal didn't look as though they were going to score. There was plenty of big calls from Mikel Arteta in this game, actually, but one was to introduce Ødegaard, who's not having his finest Arsenal season, but he played a big part in this goal.
He did. He had a couple of really good runs, a couple of lovely balls, Steve, as well. It was his pass, his assist for this goal. Obviously takes a bit of a deflection. And they were probing at this time, obviously having a lot of the possession, and you wondered whether it was ever going to happen, but the lovely weight of this ball, it tells Trossard, it sends a message to him that this is one that I'm telling you you're going to hit first time. If he smacks it at him quite hard, then Ødegaard knows, right, my mate's telling me that there's something around me, I've got to take a touch away from danger. But as it happens, he rolls it in just at the right pace to tell him, right, you're hitting this first time. It does take a deflection, impossible for the keeper, I guess.
He's made a difference to Ødegaard, didn't he? I mean, he made a difference yesterday, and I think he's starting to refine that form, what he had last season. I think he's missed it a little bit this season, obviously through injury and whatever the reason he's not been in the team, but I really do think he made a difference to that team yesterday.
Right then, the big moment, the big talking point. Good that we've got a goalkeeper in as well. Michael, you go first. Have they come to the correct decision? Is there any argument in your mind?
Wow. Yes, I think they've come to the correct decision. If let's put it on the other foot, if the goal had stood, I think there would have been everything. The world would have erupted.
Right.
As it was, because it was definitely a foul on the goalkeeper. I think there's 2% of the people in this world that think it wasn't a foul. So it was definitely a foul. I think the big question is, were the other situations, occurrences happening at the same time, were they fouls as well? Can you argue that it was a penalty? There was 3 or 4 Arsenal players holding on and grappling and grabbing, as we've seen a lot this season from them, some of the West Ham players. So let's just have a look. I mean, again, there's Trossard here not looking at the ball at all, grabbing. You've got Declan Rice, 2 hands around Mavropanos. There's others as well. Gabriel, we'll see on a different angle, pulling somebody back. There's so much going on at the same time. But I think the overriding one, Robbo, is what's happening to the goalkeeper, and it's hard to argue that it's not a foul.
I think the pushback today has been the fact that Arsenal have done this to teams all season. You know, you look at the chaos that they've caused through set plays, you look at the fouls that they've committed before, you know, deliveries have come into the box, and the melees that they've scored from this season. Actually, this is nothing different to what normally happens week in and week out. But when you see David Raya here, he's battling for position. He can't get any take-off because, one, his shirt's been grabbed. Todibo grabbing his shirt. And then, I mean, it's
happening
pick
everywhere.
the bones out of that. It's everywhere. It's absolute chaos in the penalty box.
Well, it was 4 minutes, 11 seconds that Darren England took his time.
This is the angle for me. So we look at the arm that goes across the goalkeeper. I mean, look at that. That's before the ball's even reached the penalty area. But you look at David Raya here on the right-hand side. You see the arm goes across him. But it's not the arm that's the thing. It's the hand on him there. You see the hand on him? That's the problem. Mikel Arteta straight away was on the touchline holding his hand like that. And a lot of people in the stadium thought he was appealing for handball because of all what was going on. He's not. His goalkeeper has had his hand pulled down. So David Raya, yes, his footwork and his attacking line to the ball was not ideal. He couldn't get any spring because the body's around him. He didn't give himself a big enough run-up at the ball. But when he does get there, he's prevented the chance of making the attempt to catch it. One, because his arm's across him, but the biggest reason that was disallowed is because of the hand on his left arm pulls the goalkeeper's arm away.
I think if you look at this season, this clip actually, in many ways, summarises the season. You know, Arsenal probably going on to win the league, lots of set-piece goals. They've done this to a lot of other teams. Blocking, grappling, inconsistencies with what's a foul, what isn't a foul. I think it's taken the shine slightly off this season, this very incident and this type of incident. And I think...
Is there anything that needs doing about it? Is there a rule that needs to be introduced?
That's the question. The authorities have got to think very carefully over the summer and think, right, are we just going to crack down even harder, because they'll say that they've double the amount of fouls for shirt pulling, for grappling, for these types of things this season. They're going to either have to crack down even harder or they're going to have to bring a rule change in, because I don't think people want to see this. No. This is almost
Well, what rule change could you bring in?
Well, there's been lots of things suggested. One of the interesting ones would be that there's no attacking players allowed in the 6-yard box before the ball is kicked. Now, we have that on goal kicks. Attacking players aren't allowed in the penalty box. You can still end up in the 6-yard box, of course you can, but it would prevent all this surrounding of a goalkeeper.
Would it?
Well, it has to, because you're not allowed in the 6-yard box before it's kicked. Now, we've got to think, the authorities have got to think these through really, really, really carefully. A lot of the time when we bring a new rule in, then we don't know what's going to happen after, and people will take advantage of certain scenarios. My personal preference would probably be to just police it really, really strictly.
Listen, if you police it really strictly in the first 2 weeks of the season, you give 4 penalties in the first 2 weeks of the season, send 2 players off, give 4 penalties, believe me, it stops very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. I think they've been very consistent on this type of thing, where I'm preventing a goalkeeper from lifting his arms up. I think that's been quite a consistent thing, but they haven't been consistent on the grabbing, the grappling, the pulling down, the Declan Rice situation here. 2 arms around the defender. I think that's got to change. They've got to get stricter on that.
And before the ball's kicked, they don't give anything. They go in and they speak to the players.
Yeah.
They say, right, stop grappling, get away from each other. Once the ball's in play, once the ball's active, that's when they can give free kicks, penalties, fouls, whatever they want to do. But we're seeing the referees not have the power to give anything because the ball's not in play. But surely there's other rules. If things happen within the stadium, within the pitch, after the final whistle's blown, we've seen players sent off, we've seen managers sent off. So maybe that rule's got to change.
Interesting. Much more chat on that one to come. Well then, let's look what's left. City, of course, as I mentioned, on Wednesday, at home to Palace. Then they play the FA Cup final. They go to Bournemouth, Villa at home. Burnley and Palace, that's it now in the Premier League for Arsenal, with that advantage that they have at the moment. And of course, they are 3 games away from ultimate history. There's only 3 teams ever that have won the Premier League and the Champions League in the same season, and they are still in the running to do that. Do they have a hand on the trophy now, do you think?
Yeah. That was a big result for them yesterday. Big result for them yesterday. Burnley at home, no disrespect to the teams that we're going to talk about. I mean, Burnley, they found a performance this weekend against Aston Villa. They played really well, but you can't see them going to the Emirates and getting anything. And then you would think if they win that game, the Crystal Palace game takes care of itself. That's provided that Manchester City have won their games.
Michael?
Yeah, I think they're probably going to need to win both, though.
Do you?
Manchester City, I think they'll beat Crystal Palace at home. Crystal Palace have got a cup final, but nothing else to play for. Bournemouth away, they're going to have to win that.
That's a difficult game.
That's the most difficult one. And then again, Aston Villa at home. I think they'll beat anybody at home at the moment, to be honest. So I do think that Arsenal need the 6 points, but I do think they'll get them.
Interesting. OK, that is about this.
What if I told you that 4 minutes and 11 seconds of pure VAR drama might have just decided the entire Premier League title? 1 save, 1 disallowed goal, and a moment of chaos inside the Emirates penalty box that could be replayed forever in Arsenal's history. Michael Owen has spoken. The football world is dissecting every second, and David Raya just delivered what might become one of the most iconic goalkeeping performances of this era. But here's the twist. Owen says the most talked about moment wasn't even a save. It was something far more revealing. Hello, Gooners. Welcome to Arsenal Quick News, your go-to spot for the latest Arsenal FC updates and the boldest, honest takes on everything happening at the Emirates. So let me ask you straight up, do you actually believe Arsenal will lift that Premier League trophy this season? Drop your answer in the comments, smash that subscribe button right now, and turn on notifications, because we're going deeper into this match than anyone else. Arsenal beat West Ham 1-0 inches, a match that felt like a statement. The result pushed Arsenal 5 points clear of Manchester City, who still hold a game in hand. But the real story was the 3 moments Michael Owen broke down in extraordinary detail. First, Enzo Fernandez broke through on goal in what looked like a guaranteed equalizer. Owen called it a massive miss rather than a brilliant save, arguing Fernandez took an unnecessary extra touch, opened his body up, and pulled the ball into the near post when the far corner was wide open. Andy Robertson defended Raya's positioning brilliantly. He explained that Raya didn't rush off his line, kept his depth perception sharp, and turned what could have been a panicked save into a calm, trained, well-drilled block. Was it goalkeeping genius or a missed opportunity for West Ham? Honestly, the truth lives somewhere in between. Then came the goal. Mikel Arteta introduced Martin Ødegaard from the bench, and within minutes, our captain was carving up the midfield. His weighted pass to Leandro Trossard told him to hit it first time. Trossard listened, the ball took a deflection, and the keeper had 0 chance. 1-0 to the Arsenal. But the real chaos hadn't even started. West Ham thought they'd equalized, only for the goal to be disallowed after a marathon, 4-minute, 11-second VAR review. And that single decision might just have decided the Premier League title. This isn't just 3 points. This is a psychological earthquake. Arsenal sitting 5 points clear with Burnley at home, and Crystal Palace away looks massive. Owen and Robertson both believe Arsenal needs 6 more points to seal it, and both believe Arsenal will get them. Robertson said Burnley simply cannot go to the Emirates and get anything. But here's the mind-blowing part. Did you know Arsenal are now 3 games away from doing something only 3 teams in English football history have ever done? Winning the Premier League and the Champions League in the same season. Can you wrap your head around that? Imagine being a Gooner who lived through the trophyless years, and now we're genuinely talking about a historic double. For Raya, this performance might transition him from solid Premier League goalkeeper to elite world-class shot stopper. For West Ham, the impact is brutal in the opposite direction. Their relegation fate hangs by a thread, and as Owen pointed out, this single VAR decision could literally determine whether they stay up or drop into the championship. Raya's performance immediately reminded fans of Arsenal's most iconic goalkeeping moments. Think Jens Lehmann during the Invincibles season. Think David Seaman in 2003. Think Petr Cech producing crucial late career stops. Goalkeepers winning titles for Arsenal is literally woven into our DNA. Compare the goal itself to other Premier League title-deciding moments. Aguero in 2012, Company's Thunderbolt in 2019, Mahrez at Old Trafford. Every Premier League title has its iconic deciding moment, and Trossard's deflected finish off Ødegaard's perfectly weighted pass might just be ours. There's something poetic about it being Ødegaard, our captain, criticized all season, providing the assist that decides everything. And the VAR controversy? Owen estimates 98% of fans agree it was a foul on the goalkeeper. The arm across Raya, the hand pulling his left arm down, the chaos around him, Owen broke it down frame by frame. So where do we go from here? City have Crystal Palace at home, then the FA Cup final, then a tricky Bournemouth away, then Aston Villa. Owen flagged Bournemouth as their most difficult fixture. But Arsenal control their own destiny. Burnley at home and Crystal Palace are the only matches left, and if we win both, that trophy is coming back to North London for the first time in over 2 decades. Can you imagine the open-top bus rolling through Islington with the Premier League trophy held high? Raya could end up as the goalkeeper who decided the title. Trossard could enter Arsenal folklore. Arteta could complete a transformation from chaos to absolute glory. Pressure does strange things, but based on everything we saw at the Emirates, Arsenal looked genuinely ready for this moment in a way we haven't been in 2 decades. So here's the bottom line, Gooners. Arsenal beat West Ham 1-0 inches, a performance combining drama, controversy, goalkeeping brilliance, and 4 minutes and 11 seconds of VAR chaos that might just have decided the title. Now I want to hear from you. Will this 1-0 win be remembered as the moment Arsenal sealed it? Was Fernandez's chance a miss, or was Raya's block world class? Drop your thoughts below. I read them all. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another breakdown. Until next time, Gooners, stay loud, stay proud, and let's bring that trophy home. Up the Arsenal!